It's been a while since I've been able to just get away. I was really looking forward to this trip as a way to just get away from technology, from people, from responsibilities, stress, anxiety, everything really. We had a long journey ahead of us. We ended up renting a tiny cabin a few states away from us, so the drive was long and tedious, but well worth it. I'm not really a big fan of driving, but when it comes to driving to a destination like this, it doesn't seem so bad. This tiny cabin came with everything that we would need. It had books and cards. It had dishes and cookware, sink and a stove. It even had a mini refrigerator. It also had a private bathroom with a toilet and a shower with hot water. The layout of this was very sufficient. The bathroom was small, but the space was well used. I always like to make every place feel like home. I do this by putting down blankets, lighting candles. These simple things can really make a place feel like home. Of course, the first thing we did was start a fire. I couldn't remember the last time I roasted marshmallows. It really brought me back to being a kid. Cooking is another activity that I don't really like to do. I'm not even good at it. But when you're out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have any service for technology, cooking becomes a really fun task. I actually enjoyed preparing this meal. It wasn't anything special. It wasn't anything luxury. In fact, it's the same meal that I eat at home every single day. But getting to do it somewhere new made it feel special. Looking back and reflecting on this year of 2022, a lot has changed in my life. This year, I got to pursue my dream job. I traveled for work. I made more money than I've ever made before. I saved more money. I attempted a low-buy year. I got married. It was a very eventful year, and I'm grateful for everything that happened. But I also forgot to take time for myself and just be. Once dinner was served, it was time to feast. We spent the rest of the night looking at the fire until it died out. Morning brought a lot of gratitude. Being able to wake up somewhere new, somewhere warm, somewhere safe. The first thing I wanted to do when I woke up was reach for my phone. But instead I decided that I'd read a few pages of this book that I've been trying to finish. After a cup of hot tea, we were off to hike. Hiking is one of those things that brings me great joy. I love a good hike. For me, hiking is a chance for everything to be quiet. When I hike, there's not too many thoughts in my head, and I'm kind of just enjoying being in the moment. I also feel like I'm accomplishing something at the same time without having to put too much thought in it. Just one foot right in front of the other. I always feel like hiking is a good way to kind of reset my mind. Back in the cabin, another cup of hot tea to keep us warm. Living in such a small place, things got dirty fast. I spent a lot of time straightening up in the tiny cabin, but I didn't really mind because there wasn't much else to do. And these simple, mundane tasks became really enjoyable when you're just living slowly. These are things that I want to incorporate in my life when I go back home. Another day, another meal. Same meal, just because I know what I like, and I feel like I'm very simple in some ways, especially when it comes to food. With no technology, I was really able to enjoy this meal to the fullest. There was no TV to watch to distract me, and I really got to enjoy all the flavors on a different level. Once night came, we spent most of our time near the fire, poking at it, roasting marshmallows, enjoying the warmth that it gave. But soon night came, and it was time for bed. This was the last morning here in the cabin before we made our trek back home. Since it was our last morning here, I wanted to do something special. We usually don't eat breakfast, but we had a lot of food that wouldn't make the trip home. So I decided to whip up something. I've been really enjoying eating plant-based lately, so I tried to recreate this dish that I had at a restaurant. My partner isn't really a fan of plant-based food, so I made him some eggs. It would have been very easy for me to just wake up and not make this meal. It would have been very easy to just grab something on the go while we were making the trip back. But I woke up excited to make this meal. This was something that I had wanted to make for a while, but just felt like I never had the time to. Being able to indulge and experiment and work with food that I haven't before. This meal was such an interesting food combination, which is why I think I really liked it. I also made some hot chocolate. There's something about hot chocolate in a cabin that really brings joy to me. A little whipped cream and some sprinkles to top it off. After a delicious breakfast, it was time to pack up and go home. Saying goodbye to this little cabin was hard. I would have thought that after a few days here in such a small confined space that I'd be glad to go. But I wasn't. The space provided such a peace of mind for me in a time where I really needed it. I really enjoyed this trip, and I'm hoping to do more throughout the year instead of waiting to the end of the year. Thank you guys so much for watching.